even supporting this browser. I had to use this old ass browser just to go live. That's how ridiculous this shit is. I'm telling you, slow mo. I'm not happy right now. I'm not happy with Google Chrome. YouTube, get your shit together. Google, get your shit together. So anyhow, we're live. Welcome to another BRAP rant. I think this is the second rant this week. I believe actually it is the second rant this week. And we finally made it after fucking 40 minutes of messing around with my computer and changing USB ports and rebooting my computer, my modem, everything, checking my firewall settings. I mean, it's crazy. And all it took was me going back and saying, you know what, I'm maybe it's the browser, but it shouldn't be a browser issue, right? Yeah, it was. And so, I never use Internet Explorer or Microsoft Edge. I don't use that stuff. My go-to are Google and Firefox for the most part, right? So, anyhow, Slow-Mo, what's going on, man?
Nothing much, man. Just trying to escape my kids for just like 15 minutes.
Oh man, that's what's going on with the kids, man.
Oh no, just craziness. I've been home with them all day, so like I need them to go to sleep.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Dude, you gotta give them some Benadryl, man.
Oh yeah, Benadryl, maybe a shot of bourbon or something. I don't know.
I just want to say, so we are not advocating drugging children, getting them intoxicated. We are not advocating these things as parents.
No.
I just want to throw that out there in case anyone's wondering what we're talking about. So, but yeah, I hear you, dude. I'll tell you, man, there's something going on with like Chrome right now.
Is your Chrome fully updated?
It should be. I'm gonna have to go and check, man. Let me see.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because like earlier this week when we did this, I was having
all you having issues too. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, Nate says, I see you with the clickbait title. And Nate, let me tell you something, man. When it comes to BRAP rants, there's no clickbait, man. There's never any clickbait. That's how we do it here. We're gonna talk. We're gonna keep it real. Some people might get their feelings hurt, Slow-Mo. Some people might get upset about some of the things we're gonna talk about tonight.
Let's get into it. Let's do it.
But they should. People should not get upset over pieces of plastic. I just want to say something real quick. Eric Jackson, big shout out to Big E in South Florida. Looks like Johnny Gill. For those who know who that is. Two of his students in his school passed away this week, car crash.
Oh wow.
He just found out somebody he knows, 36 years old, passed away this week. And he tweeted about it, and he's right, man. Like when you put things in perspective, man, when you look at life, man, you look at life in general, you put things in perspective, man. None of this shit is that serious, Slow-Mo.
This is very true.
And this is why I wanted to rant, man. Sorry, I interrupted, but go ahead, man.
Oh no, just just you talking about that kind of reminds me about Xbox Addict passing away.
Yeah, man.
And just some of the, for the most part, this community that, seems to be very immature at times got very mature for a second, and everyone, didn't matter if you were an Xbox fan or a Sony fan or a Nintendo fan, everyone's seemed to put the foolishness aside for a second and pay respects. But then there was this one little case where someone on a sock account he made a joke about, basically tried to create a joke out of Xbox Addict passing to make a crack at Xbox. And then it became this whole thing of, but this isn't even a real account. this is someone who's an Xbox fanboy trying to make the Sony community look bad. And I'm just like, no, it makes us all look bad.
Of course it does, man. My wife's looking at this shit. She's like, look at these fucking nerds. That's what my wife says. My wife looks at this shit. My wife looks at this stuff. She laughs. She's like, you don't talk to these people, do you? You know what my wife said to me? You know what she said? Seriously, man. My wife, honest to God, mother of 4 children. Happy Mother's Day, by the way. My wife says to me, she's like, these dudes ain't getting laid.
Yes.
My wife's,
yes. I mean, it's so obvious.
I mean, my wife said that to me.
They're not getting laid.
My wife said that to me, and I'm like, damn, my wife's not a gamer. She doesn't know what's going on, man. Like, she doesn't pay attention to Twitter or gaming forums, you know. She looks at this shit, and she's like, don't these people have anything better to do? And my wife's like, shit, I wish my life was so easy that the only thing I had to worry about was a video game console. And she's right, man. I mean, dude, I mean, Slow-Mo, I talked to you early today, man. I was like, hey, I want to do like an early morning rant before, because my son was sick. So I didn't get a chance to go to soccer this morning because my son was sick. Had a stomach virus last night, man. Was throwing up. Handled like a champ, though, man. We gave him a bucket. He's like, I got my bucket. I went up. He was throwing up. I was like, hey, are you okay? Do you need anything? He put his hand up. I'm like, nah, I got this, Pops. I got it. He's 4 years old. He's 4 years old. He's throwing up, and he's sitting there, and he's like, he got up. He's 4 years old. He's throwing up, and he's not crying. He's handling it. You know, like some of these other guys that get butthurt and get upset over plastic. They're grown men. You got a 4-year-old throwing up. You know. Anyhow.
Yeah, like I've seen some foolishness today on Twitter.
Yes.
And I mean, as usual, there's always some foolishness going on, but
there is some tomfoolery going on. Yes.
The damage controlling, it's got to stop.
Yes. Well, let's talk about this damage controlling, because, you know, I initially wanted to open this up and talk about Sony's E3 announcement, but I want to talk about the damage controlling and this woe is me attitude in the Xbox community. And look, I don't usually call people out specifically, but you know what, man, like, it just gets to the point, and I think I feel this way because, look, I bought an Xbox in 2000, whenever it launched, 2001, 2002, right? Day one, I was there when people were making fun of the OG Xbox, saying, don't drop it on your foot.
Oh yeah.
You know, it takes 2 people to lift it up.
Yeah. It was big, man.
That shit was big. I mean, I was there, and I was a moderator on the GameSpot forums when Greg Kasavin was an editor, and now he's over at Supergiant Games, and before Giant Bomb started, it was I forget his name. What's his name? Ryan something. Anyhow,
McCaffrey?
No, McCaffrey. There's another one, yeah. But oh my goodness, what is going on? I got Saturday Night Live playing on the background. This shit is crazy. Hey, big shout out to the Caps, man, by the way.
You know, I haven't been paying attention. They won?
Yes, 4-2, man. Game 1 at Tampa.
Okay.
Yeah, so anyhow, yeah. Oh, D-Troops. Yeah, he's in some overtime till 9 p.m. There you go, man. A little time and a half. There you go. Big shout out to everyone in the live chat, by the way. Mr. Ryan Landis, D-Truth, and Nate. We got 3 people in the chat, but hey, we love the 3 people we have. So, but the damage controlling, man, like, it just it bugs me because, man, I was there. I feel like I was there from the beginning. You know, Xbox Live came out. I upgraded my internet so I could be a beta tester, because you had to have a broadband connection, and up until that point, I had like AOL dial-up, and Now it's then I had to upgrade to Comcast, and I did that, and I submitted my application to Microsoft to be a beta tester. Didn't get in the first round of beta testers, but got into the second round of beta testers. And I'll never forget, they sent me a T-shirt, they sent me the headset and this orange memory card, and they sent me a disc and everything. The disc had Xbox Live on it, and it had two games. It had Revolt and NFL Fever, if anyone remembers that. NFL Fever was garbage.
Yeah, that was a trash game.
That shit was trash. Let's just be real. It was trash. Did you play it?
No, I knew that was trash.
It
That
was
was all
trash.
good.
You
What,
weren't
what
missing
was the other game?
Revolt.
Revolt.
Yeah, Revolt was a like RC car like racing game,
Oh,
and
okay, I
it was
know
like
I didn't play that.
I'm telling
It
you,
was
dude,
racing.
it was the only game that most of us played on Xbox Live Beta. And dude, I'll never forget the experience, man. I'll never forget the first time I connected. I was in a game, and people were talking, and we all had our gamer tags, and we were like, "Can you hear me? Can you hear me?" And it was just the coolest thing at the time because console gaming for the most part, this was like the first time that any of us had really. I mean, I had the Dreamcast, so I gamed. The Dreamcast was different in a sense that like it wasn't broadband. You really didn't have that online chat feature, and we were excited, man. Like everyone was just like really excited and hyped up about the possibilities of Xbox Live, and Microsoft was really engaged in getting our feedback and asking us what kind of features we wanted to see. So, a lot of us, man, if you talk to a lot of people who from back in the days, man, like we're on Xbox Live, man, you hear a lot of them will say, man, we built this shit. Like we built it. And I think there's probably a sense of pride for some people in the gaming community that were part of that Xbox Live beta experience because a lot of us, a lot of us gave feedback, man. Like, I mean, seriously, like Microsoft would like reach out to, like legit reach out to us, man. And like they would say, hey, some Microsoft guys are going to be on Mech Assault. Come join us, and we hop in a game with them. It was just anyhow, man. I digress, but um, so that's why I want to see some of this damage control. Like the thing that really bothers me, and I've seen it more recently, is oh, Microsoft could have the best E3, but it will never be good enough because they can't catch a break.
So,
And,
go ahead.
no, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
For some people, yeah, it nothing. I mean, okay, so there are certain people in the Sony fan base that no matter what they do, it's not going to be good enough because it's. I mean, these are the extremes. It's the same for the Xbox camp with Sony.
Yeah, I mean,
No matter what they do, they're not going to be satisfied with what's what they've done.
slow mo. I've seen guys say that Sea of Thieves is better than God of War.
Oh my god! Good grief! Like, wow.
I mean,
I obviously haven't played God of War.
but you're right. It's on both sides, though. It's like that like they're never going to be satisfied. But I see people talk not just saying in terms of the community, like people on the other side of the fence, but like the media. Oh, the media will never give Xbox a break because they can't do anything right.
And these are the same people that will completely ignore that. And now E3 last year, I was off because normally like my anniversary is like right around, it's pretty much on that week, so I take off that whole week as usual. And sometimes me and the wife may go somewhere, but recently we haven't been going anywhere. We just do staycations. But I had all the time in the world to watch all the streams from all the different gaming media, GameSpot, IGN, The No, all of them, and they were all really not giving Sony a pass at all. They were like their show was a disappointment. It was basically you know, a remix of the 2016 show.
Well, wait, are you saying that there's no such thing as media bias then?
Mo, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not okay. There
Slow-mo.
there is some media bias, but it isn't like this huge conspiracy against Xbox. It's not that.
No, there's not.
Yeah, there are times like, for instance, the IGN photo thing on Facebook. You're gonna find people who are gonna do stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, there's the dude that works for Forbes, and I don't know if he really feels this way, but I think he just knows that I can get a lot of web traffic if I have a very anti Xbox clickbait title for my articles, and he gets away with it, and he gets, you know, he gets all the traffic coming in from the whole Xbox community and call him all kinds of names. And does he care? No. I mean, he's doing his job, and you have those, but it's like the media is also like the community in some sense, where I mean, these people, they're gamers, but you know, you got some that are very the most that are very, very professional.
Yeah.
And then on the extreme, you got like the best ones, like, you know, Jason Schreier, those guys who are, you know, a tier above everyone else because they really put a lot of work in. And then you got the guys on the bottom end that just, you know, they just want, and I'm not even going to talk about just being biased, but they do really shoddy journalism. Like the one dude, I wouldn't even call him a journalist. He has a like news website, but the guy that in the midst of the whole Andromeda deal with Mass Effect Andromeda and the animations, and this dude name dropped a woman who he said was the like facial animator for Andromeda, and he was wrong. I'm like, you didn't do any vetting for your information to make sure that your information was correct before throwing it out there, and not like causing this woman to get death threats and all kinds of other stuff. Like that's the power of media and in the power of your position, when you can sway things and make really ignorant people do, not make, but you know, you there's power there that can be misused and cause issues. And then, you know, like that woman got death threats. That's not cool. So like I that's why I'm saying about there is media bias, but this huge massive conspiracy against Xbox, that's not real. It's just not. You know, like Xbox has to do better. Like this is what people want. I actually feel, and I think overwhelmingly the gaming media overall will give Microsoft thumbs up if this happens at E3. If they announce, if we get a roadmap of games to look forward to for the next 3 years, that'll be great.
Slow-mo, the roadmap's already in front of us, man, but no one is looking at it.
Well, we only know.
I'm telling you, we know there's games that are in development, right?
Yeah.
But so here's the other thing that I've seen too, and I'm probably gonna jump around a little bit because I've seen so many different things, you know, and it's like we know there's games coming out. Like we know that we know, and we know what they're working on stuff. We know that they're they put out an ad for a new studio.
Mm-hmm.
We know all this stuff.
No, quadruple A.
Oh, quadruple A. So
quadruple A studio.
Yeah. So now that's like, yeah, right. I'm like, okay, so now it's quadruple A, right?
Yeah.
And okay, so this is the problem. Microsoft is going. People have long memories with this shit. If they don't drop a quadruple A game, the media is, and not just the media, the gaming community is going to crucify them.
Yeah.
I hear fanboys. Oh, Microsoft, they're close to the $1 trillion company, and you know they're they're gonna put out quadruple A type gaming experiences, and I'm like, okay, so that's great, but quadruple A doesn't necessarily mean that whatever content comes out is going to be good.
Yeah.
We've seen indie games be more well received. Luca. See, look at that. Did I tell you? Remember, I was telling you that she lurks in the shadows.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, look at her. She's like, she didn't even like Luca didn't even like say, "Hey, what's up, guys?" She just says, "Enrique, you're a fanboy, and that bot on your channel's what as well."
At least she remembered your name. She just called me that bot.
Yeah,
Just that bot
See-
you got
see-
on. Yeah,
see how
he's
she.
out.
And then she says, "Also, you never invite me but I ask you to be on Scumcast." Black Luca, I look, I invited you on earlier in the week. You came on, but hey, you're busy. Luca, let me tell you something, man. Luca is in high demand right now. It's hard to get her on.
I know, man.
Yeah, so
You got to get in the list.
Luca's
Like,
got
oh, when do you want the Luca on?
the
Okay, what
Luca. Yeah,
time?
it's not the Ashley
Okay,
Luca. It's
yeah.
the Luca now.
The Luca.
She refers to herself in third person. When would you like the Luca on? Nah, that doesn't work. The Luca's busy. Oh man. So
Yeah. But no, look, all I'm saying is that like there will be people will give Microsoft their due when the games show up. And that's it. Or at the very least, like they have to do what Sony does. Like if you just got announcements,
mhm.
then show the announcements. Some of the biggest pop that Sony has got at their press conferences required no prep. It was just like
Yeah.
Kojima walking his awkward behind out on stage and announcing his new studio and exclusive to Sony. He didn't have a name of a game. He didn't have a trailer.
Well, Kojima could do that though. He can go out there and say, "What's up?"
Yeah, but we see they have to have something like that, like or the Final Fantasy 7. I remember the year that the Final Fantasy 7 remake was at E3, and people were just like, "Oh my god, they get Final Fantasy 7 finally is coming back," and we still ain't got that game yet. But regardless of that, like it's still that kind of momentum and feeling sticks with Sony.
Well, wait, I just want to say something real quick. We say real quick, slow mo, because you brought up Kojima, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I hear this narrative. Oh, they're the closest to being $1 trillion company. What do you think's gonna happen? And I'm like, they've Microsoft being one of the wealthiest companies on, in our galaxy, isn't anything new. You know what I mean? And how is that how's that worked out for the Xbox division?
I'm really also tired of that thought about people talking about how much money Microsoft has. But I'm like, yeah, but they think about what Microsoft does, what they're involved in. Windows, cloud. They have a cloud infrastructure that's the second best in the world.
The heroin trade.
Yeah, I mean, they do so many different things that people talk about, like, oh, but they got like $150 billion liquid. They could just buy EA. Why the hell would they do that? Like that money is not there exclusively for Xbox. Like people just need to do some critical thinking for a second. Like it's good that Xbox makes them some money. It's good that they made about 2.2 billion last quarter or in revenue. I don't know how much that came out to profit, but more than likely there's some profit there. I can't see them spending more than 2.2 billion last quarter on Xbox alone. But the whole thing, what I'm saying here is just because they have the money doesn't mean they had the budget. And for what everything that seems to be coming out over the past couple of years is like they didn't have any budget. So
yeah, and even when they did like have a blank check per se,
They mismanaged it.
I mean, look, they did the sense of they never really invested in first party, and that's, you know, if you this, like I said like a couple of podcasts ago, what we're seeing isn't like a Microsoft problem that just happened this console generation. I mean, if you look, what's the last like original like first party AAA exclusive that Microsoft released? It was probably Forza. If you go back to the OG Xbox, I mean, if you think about it, Gears isn't first party.
It is now. But yeah, it didn't start that way.
Yeah.
Same thing with Halo. Halo Combat Evolved was a second party exclusive.
Yes,
they didn't. They've never owned what they did. But did they own? No, they never owned Bungie. They had a contract.
But then they look what they fucking did with Bungie, man. Bungie wanted. And I always say this, like, imagine a Destiny. Imagine if Destiny was announced as an exclusive for the Xbox One.
Well,
I mean,
that's an interesting topic. By the way, Luca wanted me to tell you download Halo 5, and yeah, you need to do that, bro.
Luca. I only play with like real gamers.
Oh,
I'm trying to get her on. I said her a link. I'm trying to entice her to come on.
If she gonna come on, it's gonna be fire. It's gonna be flames.
She's gonna be like, sir.
Your microphone's gonna melt. But no, it's interesting you bring up Destiny, right? Because I was reading, well, more than listening, I actually have the Jason Schrader's book Blood, Sweat, and Pixels. I have it on Audible. So I'm because you know my commutes are like an hour plus
DMV, baby,
from work. So I'm sitting just, you know, listening to his book, and I got to the chapter about Destiny, and it was really interesting because, you know, I will blame Microsoft when it comes to Bungie for not really having their finger on the pulse to kind of, you know, make sure that their developer was good, that they were happy or satisfied. But at nowhere in there did it say that Bungie ever pitched Destiny to Microsoft when they were still exclusive to Microsoft. They pitched it to them after they had gone independent.
But dude, they had Microsoft. I mean, excuse me, Bungie had teased Destiny and Halo ODST.
Really?
Yes, there's a poster of the Traveler in that game where they teased it. So the idea of Destiny, I mean, probably goes back to, you know, probably sometime after Halo 2, I would imagine.
Well, by the way, at that point, when ODST came out, Bungie had already negotiated their exit with Microsoft. By the way, what's up, Eric? Yeah, they had already negotiated their exit with Microsoft. And in the negotiation, Microsoft asked for 2 more games, which was ODST and Halo Reach. Those are the 2 games they had to do. So
Reach was a good game, by the way.
Yeah, Reach was awesome. I love that game. So they had 2 teams that were doing those 2 games, and then once the team that did ODST was done, they finished the game, they got transitioned into the Destiny team. And then once the team that was doing Reach got done, they also went over to Destiny as well. But that was like their exit. They were working on Destiny even before it even had a name called Destiny, and even before they even had a publisher yet. So now they actually pitched Destiny to Sony, Nintendo, EA. They pretty much pitched them to every publisher out there, and then Activision picked it up. But regardless, I still blame Microsoft somewhat for allowing them to go. Also, pretty much losing BioWare as well. I don't think Bungie or BioWare have benefited from their exit from Microsoft either. Like it's like a parting of ways that both parties ended up not really benefiting at all with. But in regards to that, yeah, they could have had Destiny. They could have had that as an exclusive, but they it seems all in reading that book, there's so many examples of developers who were exclusive, like Ensemble Studios, um, who were exclusive to Microsoft,
Mhm.
and Microsoft just like, look, no, you're our, like, to Ensemble, you're our RTS developer. You make us RTS games. Shut up. And that's it. And we don't want you to. And they're just being like, well, we're tired of doing that. We want to do an MMO. We want to do an RPG. There's no freedom, and it's you do hear some things, and I guess we'll see it confirmed. Like now that we're hearing Playground Games, who previously was doing Forza Horizon, is now going to do uh, the next Fable.
Yeah.
And that's a step in the right direction, but they gotta do better with first party. They have to actually have real first parties where they actually
Mhm.
have a team like the way Sony does it. And this is uh, uh, people gonna call me a pony now, but that Sony has so many developers under their wing, and they're their own developers, so they don't have to worry about a second party that says, you know what, we just don't have the resources right now to make the game you want us to make. Sorry, we're too busy making this third party game, this third party multiplayer. Like, you don't have to wait on that. You actually can get it done. And if that team, like say when Naughty Dog wanted to make
Mhm.
The Last of Us, Sony wasn't like, no, make Uncharted 4 and shut up. No, they were like, okay, you still make it Uncharted 4, right? Okay, as long as you still making Uncharted 4, you're good. Like, that kind of relationship is what Microsoft needs to cultivate.
No, I agree 110%. I mean, I just wrapped up God of War, and
Oh, did you? Oh, okay. Did you go back to the house?
yes, I remember what
Okay.
you said. Boy, go back to the house.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was and yeah, I went back to the house, and I'm like, it's on. It is on. And I tell you what,
Ooh, hey, Blizzard beats any Sony dev said, to be fair, a lot of the key Bungie dev members moved to 343. Yeah, that is true. And that was also part of the agreement between Bungie and Microsoft.
well, yeah, but some of the leadership, like key leadership figures, like Jason, what's his face? I can't remember his last name.
To Staten, who's
Some
the
of the
lead writer.
founders, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
some of the,
the main people for Halo stayed with Bungie.
yeah, but the leadership guys, the guys are like driving, you know, I driving the process
Mm-hmm.
are left. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I understand the developers. A lot of the developers are still there, but and I forget his name, but um, anyhow, so yeah, I mean, but Destiny was best. Destiny's never been the same since. You know,
Yeah.
and it just hasn't been the same since 343 took over. I mean, I don't care what anyone says. I mean, the quality you could see. I mean, it's still a solid franchise, but the quality isn't there like it used to. And it could be that at the time when Halo came out, I mean, Halo was it in terms of the first person shooter for consoles. Like it was it. That was the bar.
Yeah.
And Halo's not the bar anymore. That's why like this whole. Here's another thing with damage controllers. These dudes out here are saying, "Oh well, no one says no one doesn't say no one gives Sony a hard time for not putting out first party multiplayer games." And I'm thinking like, okay, do you not see what's happening trend wise from third party developers? Meaning that years ago or more recent, I should say years ago, but probably towards the end of last console gen and really this console generation, a lot of third party developers have kind of left making single player narrative driven games
Yeah.
and kind of
Sony is filling a void.
yes,
That,
Sony.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sony is filling a void, and it amazes me that people don't realize this. And it's just like I'm like, people, Do you not pay attention to what's going on in the industry? Like, it's not by accident that Sony is doing this. It's the same reason that Microsoft focused so heavily. That's why I think a lot of these people are just new gaming. Like, they're just new. Like they were casual 360 owners. Now that they picked up an Xbox One, they got on that train of, oh, woe is me, media bias. Microsoft can't catch a break.
Yeah.
They're new to it. And it's the same thing. Microsoft was filling a void when Xbox Live came out because nobody was making multiplayer games like Halo or Mech Assault. People weren't doing it. There were very few developers that were doing it.
Yep, and everyone else is caught up. And now they're no longer developers are no longer willing to just stick to one, especially if you are a second party or third party developer. Like, you may have done a game for one publisher or one platform, but you really want to do more because you're going to make more money, especially if it's a good game. So, like, the only way for them to lock this stuff down is to lock down the IP so that they can't take the IP and then go Mass Effect. Like go. So the first one was Xbox exclusive, and now the second one's on everything. Like, lock that down, or lock down that developer.
Lock it down, boy. But Nate in the live chat says, there are a lot of new gamers out there fronting like they've been in it from the jump, and I agree with that. I think that when you hear or you see people say things, it kind of lets you know they're new to this because it's Sony. It's Sony's doing this because third-party developers have left for the most part, making single-player narrative-driven games. So there's this vacuum that's been created by these third-party developers leaving this. And so Sony stepped in and said, you know what, we are going to make those games. Microsoft, on the other hand, they're not the only game in town anymore. They're not the only developer making multiplayer games. And Halo's no longer the top dog.
Nope.
Halo's no longer the benchmark. Top dog
in a long time.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is about 343 and Halo, but I can't quite put my finger on it. I'm still trying to figure it out. Now recently,
you know what it is?
Halo 5 with Luca and a lot of guys in her Discord.
I heard Luca's not good.
Huh?
I heard Luca's not good at it.
Oh, here we go.
I'm just telling you what I heard.
She does regularly, she's at the bottom of the,
she's at the bottom.
But she's having fun. And to be fair, Luca is not a PvP multiplayer first person shooter, gamer.
So what you're saying is, if you were gonna play a game of Capture the Flag, you probably wouldn't have her on your team.
No, I'll have her go get the flag, and then we'll do the shoot. But what I was trying to say is that, like, I haven't quite put my finger on it yet, but there's something about the gunplay with 343 that's inferior to how Bungie does it, and I still get that feeling from Destiny 1 and 2 of when you're running around, the gun sway in your screen.
Yes, dude, I'm telling you, dude.
And you aim, it's perfect. Like, Bungie still has that. The how badly they do the story in Destiny, and how much crazy nonsense goes on behind the scenes with them arguing with one another and screwing things up. They code that crap perfectly.
Just
perfect.
Just look at the weapon variation in that game. Look at all the different weapons and how they handle the recoil, the weight.
It's perfect.
I mean, like, as much as people give Bungie shit for, this weapon feels weak or this weapon's unbalanced, what they're doing though isn't easy. And the kind of variety of we may have woken the giant
I
here.
know. It looks like the Iron Lords are angry.
Yeah. I'm,
No, look, and that's I'm before he even saw what he wrote. That's I'm saying, like the gunplay in Destiny, it is perfect. It's still the best feel for the guns and the as you said, the recoil and how they shoot and the console auto aim that has to be there for consoles, but it works perfectly with Destiny because Bungie is still the king of that. They're still the king of making the guns feel right. And that's something that's just missing with 343. I don't know why it's missing, but I remember first time playing Halo Guardians campaign, and I'm just looking at the gun, and I'm just like, why is it moving like that?
yeah.
Like, what is this isn't Halo, like, and I'm even though I enjoy the PvP, with the Game and Forte, what's up, man? He in the chat. Game and Forte be whooping up on us in Halo Guardians, always coming in first. Screw you, man. But anyway, like, I still enjoy it, but it's just like, okay, this assault rifle just doesn't feel like the assault rifle. It's still a bit different, and
man,
yeah.
I really think we have awoken a sleeping giant. I think though, the IOP, the Lord Cognito, he
said tag
me in. Okay,
I'm ready. Hey, tag him in.
Yeah. I sent him a link. So
he gonna come in and tell us. He was like, no,
he is reach.
But yeah, I my issues with I mean, I don't think some of the missteps they had with Activision, because I hate Activision with a passion, but some of the missteps they had with them, I don't think would have happened with Microsoft. I feel like, and even in reading Jason Schreier's book, some of the developers that he spoke to in near the end of the chapter, he talked about how some of them were kind of like, they had a huge party left and when they left Microsoft. Like, it was like a huge celebration. We got our freedom. Yay.
Wow.
Give us free. But then they looked back on it and they were just like, maybe the freedom wasn't really what we wanted or how we wanted it. Maybe that was a little too much, because they realize now what came with that freedom and starting a whole new IP and working under another publisher who really honestly doesn't give a crap about your passion for your game. They just want that money, and they want it, with their quote unquote revenue. The revenue, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't remember what was in their contract, but they had hit certain revenue goals.
Benchmarks,
yeah, benchmark.
Yeah. Hey, real quick,
it's slander. I hear all this blasphemy being talked about. It's totally right that I get in here and defend the honor of these companies.
Lord Cognito,
what's up,
going on, man? How are you, man?
Doing good. Up late trying to plan a little IOP. So I said, oh, BRAP's on. See what's going on in here. Then I heard the besmirchment.
Well, here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. I have look. I say I think what happens with me sometimes, and I think other people. Mm-hmm. I've been there since day one, man.
No doubt.
I take pride in Xbox Live. That's something we built as beta testers.
No, we were day one, me and you. Yeah. Alpha. Yeah. We had it, man.
I mean, we were there on Recore. I'd explain to Slow-Mo what Recore, or not Recore, what Revolt was. He's like, what's Revolt? I'm like, oh, man. You remember Revolt? That was it.
Yeah.
Revolt and NFL Fever. And NFL Fever was a crapshoot because it didn't work for everyone.
Yeah, you remember that?
Yeah.
Also, for me, it was MotoGP.
Yes, remember MotoGP.
And just graphically, how great it looked. It was, and then it was one of the few games that, because at the time the Xbox, the OG had the, you can put your MP3s into the hard drive. Yes. So I would have my own music rocking while I'm driving online with other people. It was just one of the most tremendous experiences I've ever had. That's when I knew Xbox Live was like the future.
It was, yeah.
Yeah. My OG Xbox days were filled with Halo sessions all night long with my fellas, doing System Link. My one friend, we used to go over his house and we'd be in his garage and we would just System Link all the systems.
Nice.
During the summer, smacking mosquitoes, and just playing all night. And we would always say, yeah, I'm my son over here. But we would always say, like, okay, I'm gonna be done by 2. But then the next thing you know, the sun coming up. And it's just
the sun's gonna be still blazing.
How did we play all night, right? It was wild, but like that Halo and Knights of the Old Republic was all I needed. And I was in. I've always had the Xbox. I've always had the PlayStation. I stopped buying Nintendo like around Nintendo 64, but yeah, I mean, like the state of Halo today is like the multiplayer is fun. And it's definitely fun with friends, but it's not what it used to be. Like I even with this latest update with Destiny 2, and I'm so angry with Bungie with the crap that's been going on. So like I'm not buying any more DLC. I'm not doing it. So,
you ain't doing it. That's it. Burnt me once. That's it. Shame on you.
but at the same time, I'm like, like when some of my friends was like, I got this one friend. I mean, this guy he's obsessed. He's one of my best friends. He's obsessed. He's still trying to get me the keep going. But he was like,
like me.
He was like, hey, Slow Mo. They got custom matches now. I was like, what? They got really? He's like, yeah. Come on back. I'm like, man. What are you trying to do to me? so I actually had to I almost didn't believe him. I actually had to load it up, look in there, went to the Crucible, saw the private area, and I just looked it up. I saw I can just do control now. Really?
Yeah.
I was like, okay, but.
Listen, like, at the end of the day, I'm gonna get in here. Let's talk this talk. So here's the deal. I hear everything you guys are saying, and nothing you guys are saying is inaccurate. At this point, it's specifically let's start with Destiny. At this point, it is inexcusable for what has happened. Right?
Yes.
They should have never been in this position. I will never defend that. Like for them to, like you said, Slow-Mo, you know the history. You read, me and you both, I'm assuming BRAP as well, read Jason Schreier's book. For that game to even get out the door in any type of workable state based on the turmoil and upheaval that was going on in that first stage with Destiny 1 was kind of amazing to me because that was a complete mess, right? It was pieced together. And then they got it to a workable state. And then finally, and it was definitely not well received, right? And then finally it gets to Taken King, which is kind of like that pinnacle, right?
Yes.
And you're like, they've got it now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you're like, okay, Rise of Iron was solid. I wouldn't say it's better than Taken King, but it wasn't. I wouldn't say Rise of Iron was terrible. Rise of Iron was very solid, right? So you're like, okay, you're feeling good. Destiny 2 rolls around. You're like, there's no way they can mess this up, right? You've had the past example, when you lost Destiny 1. So when Destiny 2 came out, it was such a disheartening thing to me because I'm like, there's no way you guys did not learn from your mistakes. And I had a conversation with Kaibatsu, and we go on. And Kaibatsu is a great example because he hates when I say this, but he's what I consider a casual Destiny player. He'll come in, he'll shoot the shit with us for a bit, we'll bug out, but he's not going to like do that long investment grind, right? He wants to get in, get out, and he's got his other games to play, right? So I found it interesting that he was loving Destiny 2 while I was miserable. I was like, this is not the same game. And I'm like, they're giving out stuff too easy, yada, yada, yada. And as it went on, if you remember, Destiny 2 when it launched was kind of well received initially.
Yeah,
like when it first came out, it was well received.
It reviewed better than Destiny 1.
Yes, that's what I should say. Exactly, good point. So I'm like, all right. And then to me, it's like as it went on, the warts started to show, and you start to see that it really was lacking, and it wasn't the depth and the things that the systems that they even had in place in the end of the cycle of Destiny 1 that wasn't there. So Curse of Osiris comes out, a joke. Yeah, I can't even. It was an iconic character that you guys know I love. I have it in my damn wallpaper. You know what I mean? And it was just a bastardization of the story, the narrative.
Wow.
It was not good. It was not good. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it.
Lord Cognito, real quick, man. I just want to ask you a question. I mean, because you mentioned that he was an iconic character. He was. There was so much lore behind him, and it's almost like we waited for so long to meet this character. And then we meet him, and it's like, oh,
it's a joke.
It was and it was so, and then like to go back to the same like levels and replay them. It's like it's almost like, okay, we're just gonna dump this map in here. We're gonna hopefully, you guys are gonna get excited about the lore and finally meeting this character that we've teased and we've talked about. That's just like this. This, like you said, an iconic figure. And then it was like, it almost felt like laziness.
It is lazy. It was, first of all, what it showed me is that their focus does not respect the narrative. Yes. They're not respecting their audience. And what pissed me off, I mean, we do me and Bonds, we do this Flashpoint series, is during that time, I'm seeing the lead guys that did Taken King. I believe Luke Smith and Mark Noseworthy, right? These are guys who I put up there. Like, these are the guys, I'm like, these are two really guys responsible for saving Destiny.
Yeah, and didn't Luke Smith, wasn't he the lead, lead team lead on Taken King?
Yeah, he was the lead. Yeah. So when I heard that, I'm like, where are these guys? Why are we not getting any feedback from these guys? And then I'm hearing they're working on D3. That literally, that pissed me off. I said, there's no way you can be working on D3 with D2 in the state that it is in right now. It is so
game you already made.
Exactly. Fix the game that you got. You can't be taught. Because I said, if D2 is so terrible right now, no one's going to care about D3. Right. So what I've seen then, since it was finally like what happened is the engagement finally hit rock bottom, and I clapped. I said, yes, this is what I'm talking about. They need to be humbled because they were too arrogant, because they know they sold. You know what I mean? And we know Destiny 3 has definitely been in the works. But my point, I see what you're saying, Fonz. But my point is, if the game is in such a bad state that it is, you can't even worry about that. You now have to get all hands on deck to fix this product right now. Yes. Kind of similar to what I guess what Master Chief is going through. It wasn't as broken as Master Chief Collection, but I'm just saying, like, the state of the community is bad. So all I would say is to people with this whole Warmind stuff, look, is it better than Curse of Osiris? Yes. Does there have a lot of grind and stuff, core mechanics that the hardcore are going to love like me? Yes. You know what I'm saying? Am I having fun with it? Yes. There's still a lot of problems. There's still issues. Yeah. Now, the thing is, I would tell people is, I warn people coming in, I was going to talk about this on LP tomorrow, is that coming in, there was a big Destiny community summit that they just did. They had all the biggest content creators, people in the lore, the PvP scene, PvE scene, yada, 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 right? They brought them in. At first, we all thought this was a dog and pony show, right? Oh, we want to listen to you, yay, because your engagement numbers are down finally, right? But the vibe that we got, and I know people in the community, and they're like, Cognito, I'm telling you, like he said, this is when they knew it was a 2-day summit, right? The first day, they came in and they sat there, asked, what? The first day, we're like, the community was like, why did you do this? Why did you ruin the game? What was the mentality behind all these design choices, the casualization of the game, all these things that you had in place from D1, these great systems that you take away in D2? So they got the answers. They can't tell me what the answers was because they're under NDA, right? Wow. But they got the answers and they were like, okay, cool. Then the next step is, okay, this is what we want, right? Boom, 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 boom. So the guys leave the room. Bungie guys, all these guys leave the room. They come back. The Bungie devs then say, okay, we suggest this as obviously we won't have the changes in place for Warmind, but this is going to be our Taken King style expansion in September, right? So they brought that to the group, to the summit. The summit said, if you guys do this, this will effectively kill the game. No. Right? Wow. Bungie says, okay. Next day, leaves the session. Day 2 of the session starts. They come back. They say, we've taken all the feedback of what you guys said and why you didn't like it and what you want in place of it. And this is now what we propose. From what I was told, it was not only that they were constructive, they listened and they completely scrapped what they had planned. They said, it was scrapped. We saw it. It was going to be planned for September. They scrapped it and they gave us something else. Now, also from what I was told, there's apparently supposed to be a new mode that's going to be introduced into Destiny in September that has never been done before. Right? This is what I've been told. And from my understanding, it's one of the greatest things that people have played when they were there. They were like, we cannot wait to talk to you about this kind of stuff. But more importantly, forget the mode. They're getting to the core mechanics of what made the game great and what people want. So from my understanding, for the first time, it appears that they're listening. Now, the question comes down to, is it too late? You got guys like, Slow-Mo, like you, BRAP, like J-Fon's in the chat. Like,
I won't go back.
Exactly. There's people that like, they've burnt the bridge so much. And then on top of that, like Slow-Mo was saying, like, you're still going to ask people to pay for this. Right. So there may be a point of no return. I'm fully aware of that. There may be a point where it's too late. The bridge has been burnt. They've had their chances and people have moved on. And we've seen the landscape, right, Brad? We've seen we got, all these games coming out. We've got Red Dead coming out. We've got Anthem, Division 2. Destiny's not the only game in town anymore.
The other thing too, Cognito, is that it's in terms of like hopping on and just gaming like on a first-person shooter, just having fun with my friends. I can do that on PUBG right now.
Facts.
And play for free. And Fortnite free. Yeah, I mean, and have a blast. I mean, I don't have to worry about DLC, and Destiny 2 for me felt like a cash grab.
Yeah.
When they put those the shaders behind a paywall, basically. To me that was like, oh my god, like Activision is all like Activision has their hands on them, and I don't know if I can go back, man. Listen, I don't know.
I feel you, and that's this part that's sad because all these wounds are self-inflicted. There was no reason for it to be in this state, and even if the game turns out to be great. And like I said, even with this One Mind content, there's stuff that I am loving. There's people who've had it, and that's the result. So I don't know what they do. You know what I'm saying? At that point, because like you said, Fortnite's out here running these streets. They dropped that Thanos Infinity Gauntlet the same day. It was over. I was like, oh, that's a wrap.
Can we Epic has their hands wrapped around the mind share. Like they're just like, hey, look, we doing everything around here.
They are the epitome of pop culture right now. Fortnite
is.
Dude, when you got Drake and Ninja streaming, it's over. It's over.
Breaking Twitch.
Wait, you have Major League Baseball players.
Yes.
Playing the game. The Milwaukee Brewers were playing the game on the big screen of the stadium, and they're sitting in the stands. Did you guys see that?
Yes.
And I'm like, wow.
It's over. It's over.
You have baseball players saying, oh, I'm not getting Tommy John surgery because I was playing too much Fortnite.
Facts.
How about the kid in North Carolina that was dealing with a hurricane? A hurricane came through. He needs to get to shelter, and he was like, "Nah, I was playing Fortnite. I was about to win." Like, what? Seriously, kid, you about to die, but you gonna risk yourself to get that win? They're like, wow, like that's like they have the mind share. Like it is the number one game in the world. By a pretty fair margin.
Facts. And I had this conversation, like I said, me and Bond just go because he's hardcore Destiny. I mean, I met him at a Destiny convention actually, it was kind of hilarious, and we were talking about it. We were just like, okay, let's just say hypothetically they fix every issue we want, right? And come down to September, the problem remains. You still got to pay for that DLC. You're still having to ask someone to pony up money for the game to be better, right? Yeah. And how do you compete? How do you compete with Red Dead, Call of Duty, Battlefield, Anthem? That it's tough. And I told we were very honest this last Flashpoint we just did, and we were like, look, even if that DLC doesn't hit, it legitimately could be over for that franchise. I really feel so. It's that's how dire things are, in my opinion. So
but Cognito, aren't the numbers though like still pretty high for the game though? Like it's still driving like revenue, and I think
it actually stopped though. Like after 2017, the initial point, right, when that first year, I remember Piscatella put the numbers out, and I was like, wow, it's already like the #1 game for 2017. But if you look subsequent, it's not in the top 10 anymore as far as software sales as a multi-plat game. Then the key telling point is engagement. The numbers are so bad. It's so low. Trials, like people don't understand the Destiny PvP scene would keep the game going, right?
Wow.
And they're so slow. Here's the other main issue. Look at a game like Fortnite. The minute there's a fix, there's a bug, there's a buff, it comes out so fast. With Bungie, it takes so long to get sandbox updates. And that's the thing. Like, if you make these changes frequently, you show that activeness, that creates engagement. They're like, oh, okay, they fixed this. All right, this shotgun's nerf or whatever. Or we changed this mechanic. And it's just like, again, I don't know what the internals are, but that is a major problem. And we were told when D2 came out, that these are things, those are going to be things of the past. That those are the problems that D1 had. We had new middleware, new tools, yada yada yada.
They said they would roll out those like patches fairly quickly.
Yeah,
I remember that. Yeah. But that hasn't been the case.
They're in a huge risk of Destiny 3 bombing like massively, and you know, I understand they have this contract with Activision. They have to have hit certain revenue goals or certain revenue benchmarks, and they need to sell the next DLC that comes out that's going to fix the game. But this is the sequel to we need to fix the game, and it's just. It's going to be like the first time people, you know, they love the game. They, you know, I love the game. The first one, Destiny 1, I stuck in there, hung in there. I played it all the way to year 3, but then it's just, you know, I'm also a big fan of The Division. And The Division had
Division 2 is coming, baby.
Yeah. the Division had a similar thing. Like the game came out like broken. There was some stuff you'd be running through Manhattan, and then you'll run through a puddle and just fall through the map. Like it had so many bugs and issues going on, but they fixed that game. And one thing that I recall with Ubisoft with this is that they didn't ask for any more money. Like if you pay for the season pass, okay, you got all that DLC that came out that first year. But when they came out with those other updates that completely changed the game, that made like those huge, massive quality of life improvements, all that stuff was free. When they added the West Side Piers and just expanded the map, and then added in a like a horde mode, and added in all this other stuff, and straight up 4-on-4 PvP, all that stuff free. Right. And now people. Like when Destiny 2 was falling, at the same time you hear these big time YouTubers and all these media outlets saying, "Hey, and the Division's doing great right now. You gotta try the Division again." And it's just like at the same time, it was massive. You would see the numbers just like it was like a seesaw. Big numbers on Destiny's 2 side, slowly going down. The Division slowly going up, and now the Division has that momentum. Going into the Division 2. Now I'm hoping that UB Massive didn't make the mistake Bungie made with Destiny 2.
No, I got confidence in them.
Yeah, I do have confidence in them because you know what? Some of the things that you mentioned that Bungie's doing now, that's very encouraging to me that they're finally listening to their community. And UB Massive did this 2 years ago. They would have those task force that so they would take like. They would randomly take like a dozen people who were big time Division players, fly them out to whatever European country they're in. I keep forgetting where they're at.
Jay Fonzarelli.
Jay Fonz in here.
He say Division is trash. Come on, Jay. Jay.
Trash, bro.
The slander. No.
Jay.
Okay.
What a way to make
When was the last time you played it?
It's been a while, but I don't like the I don't like the third person perspective in that game. I don't like the fact that you're shooting real people and it's taking like 100 hits just to down.
It's not like that anymore. You gotta play the game, man. It's not like that anymore. The bullet sponginess has been addressed.
Yes, the bullet sponginess has been addressed. That's definitely been addressed. That was like one of the first things they did.
But you still got to unload a mag to kill somebody, right?
No. I mean, for the most part, not the most part, I have a build for every single gear set they have in the game.
Here's the problem I have. It takes away from the authenticity of the game to me. It's like when I went into that game originally, when I played the demo, I was expecting like, okay, you're going to shoot these guys and they're going to go down in a couple of hits, like real people, But nah, you gotta unload on them, and to me, that's what makes games like Destiny and other games that are like futuristic and out of this world stuff okay. With these bullet sponges, you're shooting these aliens and shit. But here in this game, it's like these are real people.
I know where you're going. I know where you're going.
It doesn't feel right.
Yeah, I just want to jump on what you said because, Fonz, I'm actually with you on that. And that was like, I was the original Division hater. I ain't gonna front because I was like, who is this game threatening my destiny? How dare you? You know what I'm saying? Like, let me see what's going on. And like, I remember I lost a lot when this was during the Destiny 1. And I remember a lot of Destiny 1 community fell off. And that was during a very slow content period. And they went to Division. So I said, all right, in fairness, let me give it a shot. And the same disconnect Fonz had is what I had. Because my thing is, the game is cool. But like he was saying, like when you're shooting a human character, because it's human and it's not scientific, it's not fantasy, it's not space, it took me out of the realism aspect. You know what I mean? So that was my initial thing. And then I was like, okay, we're in the whole New York City. Nobody got a bike. Nobody got a car. Like, come on. Like we all by foot during this whole thing. You know what I'm saying? All right, cool.
It also comes down to Destiny has spoiled me when it comes to gunplay.
Yes.
I play another game, another first-person shooter, or any kind of shooter, and I always compare Destiny to it. And that's unfair because, honestly, I'll tell you what, people can hate on Destiny all they want. I'm even hating on it now in a lot of ways. But when it comes to the gunplay, it is unmatched. Nothing touches Destiny.
And I will say this, I got to put the chest out. A Destiny raid, in my opinion, I've gamed. I've been there, BRAP. Me and you've been there from the beginning. We OGs. Fonz to everyone in this party. And it's like, bro, I'm telling y'all right now, there is nothing that beats the cooperative experience of a Destiny raid, and they still got it. I watched Warmind. Those guys do the first world's first. Dude, it was amazing. And the mechanics involved, the teamwork, the pressure, there's nothing. So they still have that's the thing, for people that are like, why do you still play this damn game? I just can't. Yeah, it's the raids, the mechanics, the gunplay. It's tough to walk away from it because it's so perfectly done, but then they just mess up everything.
Hey, Lord, I just want to say something about, we talked about, and Jay, just to build upon what you just said about gunplay mechanics. I mean, if you look at the PvP aspect of the game, to me, it's still the bar in terms of online multiplayer, because if you look at other games that try to incorporate things like special abilities, jetpacks, that's a hard thing to do, right?
Yeah.
To make it feel balanced or make it feel intuitive, and they do it with the different abilities that the that the Titan class has, that the hunters have, the warlocks have. I mean, they make all that. They make all of it gelled, well together, and it doesn't feel forced. It feels natural. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, I know exactly what you mean. The whole class mechanics.
Warlocks are trash. Just got
easy.
Okay, look,
you elite hunter. Easy.
Look. You didn't say way too much, man. You were talking at the Division class, and I let it slide, but you ain't gonna be talking about my warlocks, all right?
Oh, my man, I'm slow motion warlock too. My man,
that's slow motion jumping up in the air, man. Here's the thing, man. When I first started Destiny, I loved warlock. That was my first playthrough was with a warlock, and people were telling me, "Hey, wait till you play this class or this one of the other two. It's way better." Then I saw the light. I played the hunter, and I played the Titan, and hunter is the master class. Forget the other two.
I will say, I disagree, sir.
What'd you say, Brad? What'd you say?
I'm gonna go with the Titan class. Titan, that's my go-to.
Titans are OP. Titans are like the poster boy. Like that, I just feel like the Titans are they're so dominant. You know what I'm saying? Like definitely, there's no doubt. I will say this, Fonz, though. Playing as a hunter, the skill level required, it is a high ceiling if you master that class. I will say that. I will give you that. It is very high ceiling.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Like what I love is the mobility about the hunter. You know, I love the way that dodge roll and shit. That's so fun, man. And PvP, it's money.
Mm-hmm. I give you that. No doubt.
You know, another example of a company that really a developer that really listens to their community and makes great quality of life updates is Digital Extremes with Warframe. And if you guys have tried Warframe, free game, you can try it. You know, if you don't like it, it's not for some people.
Yeah.
But a lot of people try it and love it, and they do some things that they do some things very, very well. You know, as far as the different Warframes and different abilities that they have. The gunplay is nowhere near as good as Destiny, of course, because nothing is.
Yeah, that's the problem I have with it. Warframe itself is a well polished, free to play game. It really is. I gave it a try though with some friends, and I'm not liking that gunplay, and I don't like the game in general. It's not for me. But hey, man, the people that love it, I understand. You know, even Division, it ain't for me, but I understand people that love it. You know, it's good, you know, it's just not for me.
Well, with the Division, I think what the Division does better than anything out there is the build quality and the different builds you can make.
Facts.
You can talk about bullet spongy stuff. Okay, I have a Deadeye build. I don't care what you do with your character. My Deadeye build, you're dead in 2 shots. Or 1 shot. I mean, it's so many different ways that you can go about, so many different combinations that they have. That's like light years ahead of everyone else with that kind of
they've got the minutia, the mid-maxing, all that down. Like you really can customize every aspect of your character for a certain build. And again, these are the things that that's never had it on that level, but these are things that D1 tried to introduce, and then when D2 came out, it was just completely casualized, stripped away.
I did not feel that at all.
It was, but even down to the classes. Remember, Jay Fonz, like when you had the hunter, you had your different nodes, right? And you would go through your nodes and which ones you would pick for your setup. You know what I mean? But now it's like you just have an option for node 1 and node 2, and they're all preset made for you. You can't even customize it. And these are the things that the community, like I said in the summit, were bringing out. Why was this customization taken away? Why were things casualized? Why was the grind taken away? You know, what's going on with just basic things that you've already had in the game? And they pulled them, they called them to the carpet, and they had the answer for it. So I will say this, I was surprised because I thought it was going to be a dog and pony show. I thought it was going to be, they're just doing this because the engagement numbers are down. They're trying to save face. And when I was told that the lead devs from Bungie, when they presented what was going to be in that next content, and the whole room of that summit said, hell no, do not put this in the game. And they scrapped it. They came back the next day. They took all their ideas, they aggregate. And then even from my point, especially was, because shout out to my man, I don't know if you guys know this guy. His name is, My Name is Bife. He's one of the top Destiny lore creators. Right?
Yeah, I'm familiar with him.
He wasn't invited to the summit. So that had a flag on me. I'm like, what's going on? We just been through this with the Osiris disappointment. Why isn't a prominent guy, from the lore guys there? So they got the second place guy, I believe his name is Mylan Games. And he had a spreadsheet, right? And he said, look, the Taken King is the pinnacle of lore. You had the strikes that led up to the encounter, right? Explaining what's going on with Oryx. You had at the end of the strike where you quote unquote beat Oryx, he goes into the spoilers, Ascendant realm, whatever, and then the raid start. It was a perfect transition lore-wise from start to finish. Everything was synergized. And they said, now you have these raid layers. There's no synergy. There's no story. You have iconic characters that come like Osiris. There's no build-up. It's just a disrespect of this great lore, these characters that you have. Why are you guys doing this, right? And from what I was told, they were disappointed day one. There was no lore team member from Destiny, from Bungie there. Day two, CJ Barrett comes he brings down the lore guy. He sats down to Mylan, Merkley's, and a couple other lore community, and they get in the room and say everything that they have to say. Now it's gonna be interesting to see what happens in September. But again, from my sources who are on NDA, they can't speak. I would ask them questions, and all they would say is like answers like, I'm very positively, they would say like, I'm neutral about this change, or I'm very positively excited about this change in the next DLC. So I would ask them in that form so they don't break NDA. And the majority of the stuff that I got was very positive. All like from the lore stuff, from a lot of the questions I had. So we'll see. But is it too little?
That's definitely what I've been hearing out of the Destiny fan camp was, you know, some of this stuff is being rumored or leaked to some of these guys that are big content creators here on YouTube for Destiny. And they're very, it's promising what's coming down the road as from what I'm hearing anyway, from these guys. But that said, man, they've done a lot of damage to steer away a lot of people away.
Facts.
And, you know, months ago, and I'm talking at least 6 months ago, they were already talking about how they've been started creating Destiny 3. And that right there is enough to set a lot to off.
Yep, that's what set me off. I was like, you can't be worried about Destiny 3 and Destiny 2 is in the state, isn't it?
Yeah, but to be fair, like a month after they launched Destiny 1, they started working on Destiny 2. But then that was also kind of the problem as well, because it almost seems as if these two teams, like the team that was fixing Destiny 1 and the team that was doing Destiny 2, just wasn't really communicating.
No communication.
Because if Destiny 1 is like, hey, look, this really fixed things, we implemented whatever. Destiny 2 team needs to know that, or at least, hey, look, you guys need to start doing this and stop doing whatever you're doing and start, start incorporating these game mechanics, because this wasn't working before. And so, like, those are the kind of things that, like, I don't know what to expect with Destiny 3. Like, am I going to get the same exact in-game whatsoever, even more watered down game that I got with Destiny 2? Like, I don't want that. Don't fix Destiny 2 and then make Destiny 3 like, the trilogy of empty Destiny and we'll give you the rest of the game as years go on.
Don't strip away stuff and then added stuff back.
It's not about stripping away and adding stuff. The problem with Destiny as it stands and what people need to speak up on is the fact that they're just reskinning everything. And they're giving it back to you and saying it's a new weapon. No bullshit. This is the same pulse rifle we had last year. It just does a little different. It does something a little different. And that is the problem with Destiny. Look, going into Destiny 2, I was expecting all the worlds we had from Destiny 1, because this was supposed to be a 10-year game, mind you. And I was expecting at least double that. Some new worlds, you know what I'm saying? Some more places to go to, not just a couple of areas they let us go into in Destiny 2. No, I was expecting all these new areas to just explore, just like we did the first one. And a lot of these areas they created for us, they may seem like they're big, but they're really not.
No, they're hub spaces.
Exactly. And they're not really that big at all. And that is the issue. And the guns, they reskinned a whole bunch of guns. That was another major issue. And then they gave you exotics that weren't exotic. And I hear that they're changing that a bit.
That's what they changed with Warmind, which is what I'm enjoying right now, which is basically they've gone through every exotic that they have dropped. And they said, okay, these things don't feel exotic. The community is complaining. It's like these things, we don't even care about exotics anymore. They have these new things called Masterworks, which in theory are better than exotics. So they drop orbs, they give you armor, they do all this other stuff. So what they've done is they've systematically gone through every single exotic and they've buffed it and added new properties. So now it feels cool. But again, I see what you're saying.
Okay, exotics though, they're supposed to be exotic. Okay, I don't like that new system they added. Personally, I think they should have had less drop rates with these exotics, and they should have been exotic to begin with, just like we had in Destiny 1. That is what we enjoyed. That's why you had your player base there going after this. It was all part of the grind. They took away so much of the grind in this game and added a bunch of BS and microtransactions and things like that. That is just it was no longer a time sink. It became a money sink for a lot of people.
I think Fonz, I think it was them trying to balance, appealing to the hardcore crowd and appealing to a casual fan base and trying to grow that that pool of people that would come to this game and that this game would appeal to. I mean, I think that's evident with, you know, joining a clan and not having to do anything and still get loot.
Yep. When you in a clan and you're getting raid gear and trials gear, and you haven't even stepped in the raid or trials, that's why I said that was the biggest. That's what showed me the shift. That they started Destiny 2 with a fundamental shift that we are going to go after the casual market that doesn't play this game. That's where the shift started.
But here's the problem. Here's the problem. You had millions of players that left this game that were hardcore. Casuals will not sit and play on this game for years to come. Once they're done with the game and the campaign, they're out. They don't really sit there and play for hours on end. That's why they're called casuals.
You're right.
Yeah, they completely misunderstood why people stopped playing the game.
Yep.
You don't market an MMO or anything like an MMO to a casual. It doesn't work.
Facts. Preach it. That's what I've been saying. And people killed me. People killed me. They were like, but it's rated so high and it was good. This was during the honeymoon phase of Destiny 2's launch. And I'm like, this is a mistake. Because the casuals, once they get what they get, they're out. They're not coming back. There's no grind. And once you have all the exotics, everything feels good. You've got all the raid gear. What's the incentive to play this game anymore?
Yeah. The casuals are not about that grind. Ever.
No,
they're never about the grind. So like the casual gamer will jump in and, you know, oh, this was cool, this is a great story. They get to the end game, and then, you know, maybe a couple of their buddies they may want to do some Crucible stuff with, but the raids, no, I don't really want to deal with that. You know, like, and then none of that other stuff that the hardcore gamer was really interested in, and it seemed like Bungie was just like, you know, let's make the first raid easy. Let's water it down so the casuals will want to do it. They still don't want to do it. So
I've never played raids with a casual, and I've never played, like, going back to any MMO, World of Warcraft, never played with a casual in my life in that game. They don't play those games.
Yeah. But see, here's the problem. The problem is, as much as we want that stuff, it was hard for us to win that argument against Bungie because look at the sales numbers. Remember when Piscatella dropped those numbers, bruh? When we saw Destiny 2 at launch was already the most selling game of 2017. That's crazy, right?
They sold a lot.
It was hard to fight them because they're like, oh, well, look how well the game's doing. So it's now, that's why I love how they got humbled. Because since then, it's not been on top 10 of any NPD software list. Engagements at all-time lows, trials, PvP, you name it. It's hard to find a community to do anything in Destiny right now. And that's why that summit had to get created. Because at the end of the day, there's no more players. Everyone's got what they got and they're done. So now you have to humble yourself. That's what I like. I'm here for the humbling. I'm here for, let's now try to fix the game and give it back to the community that love this game so much, because you've ostracized. I've got my man Jay Fonz saying, like, I'm not playing that no more. I got people like Game Addict who love the raid. That's my guy. He's like, nah, man, I'm not. I can't. They messed up too many times. I don't like these systems. I don't like the raid layer. I want true raids. There's so many bridges burnt right now.
The raid layer is terrible.
I say I'll never go back. But I'll tell you this, and I've told some friends this too. If they did make these changes and they did get it right, I'd be back for that gunplay. Definitely.
I feel you. I'll keep you posted. All I will say, Fonz, is I feel you, man. You're speaking from the heart. And from what I was told from people I trust that are under NDA, that I would say 80% to 80 to 90% of things that we as the hardcore Destiny guys love have been addressed, will be addressed. I will also comment on what I can comment on is weapon placement, which is a big source of contingency right now, which is people don't like how they did power, what is it, energy and whatever. Remember how you used to be able to have like your shotguns and your things in the second slot?
Yeah.
You know, that's a big form of contention. I heard that's going to be addressed with a really, really good feature.
Yeah, like you had your pistols, like in your pistol section, and you had your shotties, and they changed that.
Yes.
Where you could have like a combination of different things.
I've heard the three major outcries. That's one of them. They've seen, touched firsthand what the changes are be, and a lot of it is everything we wanted from the damn beginning with Destiny 1. So we'll see. We'll see. Is it too little, too late? Who knows? We'll see.
Yeah. Well, Cognito, I want to do I just kind of want to transition here real quick because I know you heard us talking about Microsoft
Oh yeah.
And so we're not. Look, here's the thing: we're not
passion.
We're not yeah. We're not bashing Microsoft per se. It's more of the damage controlling that's going on, and I worry that sometimes people set these unrealistic expectations, and then E3 is going to come and they're going to be like, oh man, this is not good, and this idea that, and I've seen this more recently, that they're the closest thing to $1 trillion company, and so that's gonna be big for Xbox. I'm like, well, they've always been a big company. I mean, like, this isn't anything new about Microsoft being wealthy. Like, we've known this for a long time, but this isn't necessarily going to translate to more first party or more new AAA games. I don't know. I keep telling people that say we want to see a roadmap. I think the roadmap's in front of us. Microsoft as a company, since Satya Nadella has taken over, has really shifted to, look, we need to compete in a different landscape. It's not about operating systems anymore, as it is about your product being in multiple places and multiple times. You know what I mean?
Right,
like,
the services bit.
Software as a service, yeah, and that's really, it's not about hardware, it's about software now. And that's where technology's really moved, and Microsoft knows that. I mean, they're not look, you don't get to be as big as them without knowing what's going on, right? And I've always said this. I think Phil, Phil's got their ear now, and he's got a budget now, and they got this untapped budget, they got a blank check, and I'm like, people, you got to pump the brakes a little bit, because Xbox goes where Microsoft goes.
Okay.
And I've been saying this for the last couple of weeks, and so this is when I say the damage control, people thinking that they're somehow going to open up 4 different new studios, and now
quadruple A.
Yeah, it's not. Come on, I mean, that within itself is I think you say that, you better deliver quadruple A, or else you are opening Pandora's box again.
Facts.
Because because triple A, it can be quadruple disappointment for a lot of people if you don't deliver the goods, and I keep telling people, the writing's on the wall. At least it has been for me. They are going to be Xbox is going to be on different devices at some point.
Okay.
And I know that's not a popular opinion, but we're seeing it with Microsoft right now. Right. Office is off of PC now, or not just exclusive to PC.
Right.
Who would ever thought that? I mean, and look, I'm dating myself here. I remember the days of people arguing Microsoft versus Apple back in the days, and say, oh, well, nobody cares about Apple. Nobody cares. It's all about PC, and you'll never see Office on an Apple device. And look where we are today in 2018.
Yeah, I mean, you listen. You're making tremendous valid points, and I get it. I guess my question to you before I answer would be, what, based on the vibe I'm getting right from you guys, like, where do you see yourself with Microsoft at this point? Because I guess where I'm confused is this: if I see a company that I love, right? Same thing like with Destiny, right? And I see a game that I love and it's just going in this direction that I just don't like, right? Or I'm just like very disappointed. My thing is, do we allow them the time to improve? Or do we say, what, I've seen enough from you where you've made so many mistakes and so many blunders or whatever it may be that you're done, or I'm done with you, or I'm on time out with you. Like, where are you at with them as a company, based on, obviously we know 2017, the Lords call it affectionately the year of the L for first party. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And we know what Sony's delivering. We've got these tremendous experiences. God of War, you got look what's coming. You got Spider-Man, the Days Gone trailer just dropped, and you've got all these tremendous quality first party. So my question to you, BRAP, is like, what do you do like with Microsoft at this point, like you personally?
Okay, I look at it like this. I have an Xbox One X,
right,
and I pretty much have I have some. I have bought. I've mortgaged some time with Microsoft with the Xbox One X because I know that they're not going to leave that platform behind, even when the next Xbox comes out, which probably might be 2020.
Right.
You know, it's going to be forward compatible. So for me, it's just a matter of, okay, I'm going to see, but I don't know, man. I just,
and that's okay.
I don't know. But I will say this. I will say this. If they get third party to buy into Game Pass, I'm not going anywhere.
Okay.
Because now I don't think that's happening. Like I know, you know, we've seen some rumors that have been like, oh, you know, it Shadow the Tomb Raider, Borderlands 3, like these things in the rumors were showing that at E3 that it would be said that those are going to be day one in Game Pass. I don't see that happening. What I think would be more realistic is that it actually makes more sense to me that Microsoft would, if they have made this investment in Game Pass, now it's $10 and it's for their own first party, that if you're going to make this investment and you're going to really want to make this work, you need to do, if you want to be the Netflix of gaming, is actually do what Netflix did and actually build up quality exclusive content that people can only get on your product or within your service. And so that would actually mean they need to step up on the first party front. Now, I 100% feel what Enrique is saying because I've felt the frustration, you know, and even though me not really like for me, if Microsoft came out tomorrow and said, we're not making any more Xboxes, I think we're done with this right now. All right. I'm going over to Sony exclusively, and I'm already loving God of War and playing Horizon Zero Dawn, so I'm not really that upset about it. But I would like there to be some competition, and I see that you know they're giving us a lot of lip service. Right. I don't want to say the phrase "wait for E3," but at the same time, it's just like But here's my question.
Make a new game. I'm just gonna ask you one question. The same thing I want to ask BRAP. Based on what you guys are saying, I feel you. My question to you now is: let's say now E3 comes, and it's still not exactly what you're looking for. What do you do then?
I'm still going. Look, my Xbox One X is my multi-plat station. It is where I play the best multiplats that run best with the highest frame rates and the best resolution, and I will still play that. Now, as far as next gen goes, you know, like I always buy Xbox and PlayStation. For me, it all depends on when I buy it. So if I'm hearing PS5 will be backwards compatible to PS4, more than likely I'm not going to be through my backlog yet. PS5 will be a day one purchase for me. Is Xbox going to be the next box, whatever you want to call it? Is it going to be a day one purchase for me? I don't know. They're going to have to step up. You know, the games that they claim there are in development now, the Perfect Dark, the Fable, the this brand new IP by this new quadruple A studio, all that good stuff. Those games are ready and they look good. Then yeah, I'm jumping on and I'm in. But you gotta show me. I'm done with I'm done with the lip service. You know. You know, like I'm like that fed up, you know, girlfriend who is just done with her man. Now you cheating on me.
That's what I was going. I was literally gonna go there. You just stole my thought, and that's what I was gonna say.
Show me that you
can. Like this chick has cheated on you and hurt you. Let's just keep it real. Like, and it's cool. Like we've all been there. We've all been disappointed by a company, but it comes to a point where it's the same thing with me and Destiny. I have to say, look, you're on timeout right now. I don't like this new direction. You're not the person I met. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing with Microsoft. Like some people feel that way. Like, yo, this is not what I signed up for. This is not the aggressive Microsoft that was going after companies, that was, you know, making their claim. And the services thing may not be for them. And I completely get that. All I would say is, bro, you got Sony over here killing it. is cool. You know what I mean? Like it's cool to go over here and say, look, well, over here they treat me nice. You know what I'm saying? You know, and when you get your stuff together, we may revisit this conversation. But right now, me and you we're broken up.
You know what? It's funny you mentioned that. I did that with Nintendo.
Yeah.
I broke up with
Nintendo. I wasn't talking to them for years. Yeah. Facts. Until the Switch came, I said, now you've gotten with the times a little bit, Grandpa. Okay, come on. We can rock with you now this year. You know what I'm saying? But that's just where I'm at. Fonz, where you at, man?
I think the Game Pass suggestion made that, or the assumption made that they wouldn't have any third party in there. I wouldn't put all my eggs in that basket just yet. I think in the future it could be if Game Pass takes off with first party first. Okay. Because first and foremost, you need exclusive content, and not just exclusive, but you need quality exclusive content within Game Pass for that to actually work and work on other devices as well. Because we know that's going to other devices eventually, you know, whether it be, you know, phones or whatnot. They're going to start putting it on everything, you know?
Yeah.
But I think eventually they could possibly get some third-party deals if they were to kick them some, you know, continuous revenue stream. Hey, what a company might like that, you know? But here's the thing: as it gets bigger, you know, price will increase on that thing if it's a success. And look, I wouldn't mind spending, you know, $12, $13 a month for something that has really great quality games in there, and it's just worth it for the price. But And to go back to your point about Xbox this E3, if Xbox's E3 doesn't do it for me, I'm going to be speaking on it big time, and I'm going to be giving my disappointments out there and telling people what I'm disappointed at and why I'm disappointed. But this will also set up this for me, because I've given this a lot of thought, and at first I was like, well, you know what, this would solidify me not buying the next gen console, the C3, and I think that's just all wrong to go about it that way, because I like to be more logical and I like to sit there and really think about things like this, and I did, and I've thought this over, and it's basically like this: people that are saying it's a make or break year for Xbox, it's not. Okay, it's really not. And the reason why I say that is because all it takes is one big title for people to get hyped about a console. That's it.
That's it. And it stops the narrative.
You are, but if something was announced and it just blew your mind, you're going to buy that next console. Trust me. And that's why I'm saying that it's not going to solidify me not purchasing that next console, but it is going to give me some disappointment. I'm going to be upset, and I'm going to be talking about this E3 in a negative light. But next year they can announce something. They can announce something the following year after that. You know, it's just up until the console is ready to go. This next one, they can announce anything and get people hyped up. But if they do announce this next console and we're not seeing any kind of roadmap or any great games, and we're getting Sea of Thieves 2,
wow. But you know what, Jay, I think the roadmap's in front of us, man. I think that they are content with producing hardware where, like Slomo said. I think
that you're jumping the gun just a bit, Enrique. I think
get him, Fonz.
I think that they are looking at building on first party, and that's why they are pumping in money into this quadruple A studio. I don't even want to call it quadruple A. Okay, they got to get triple A first. Okay, get some triple A's out there before you.
No, Fonz, it's quadruple.
It's ray tracing. I think that's natural. I think they have to. I think you can't.
They're trying. Okay, it seems like it might be. It seems like they're trying right now with this quadruple A studio, right? But the proof is in the pudding. I got to see what's going to happen here.
Exactly. You got to show me.
I'm not going out there saying, guys, that's it. It's over. Microsoft is finally coming back with this studio they're going to be making, because you got to listen to yourself. They're going to be making. Okay. It's not in the works yet. I mean, they're still trying to put all this together to make this studio in the first place. And a lot of people out there have to realize one thing, because when they hear this, they think right away, oh, there's going to be a game announced next week. No, it takes time to make games and to come. Some people are delusional when it comes to this stuff, because I see it in podcasts all the time. They talk about, okay, well, Microsoft invested $1 billion into first party a year and a half ago. Where are my games? It takes a lot longer than a year and a half to make a quality game. But I will say this, in a year and a half's time, they would have something they could at least give us some info on, and to get their freaking people hyped again, the Xbox fans hyped. That is the kind of stuff I want to see from them. Give us, I don't care if it's 2 years away. Right. Sony does it all the time, and guess what? It works. Nintendo does it all the time, and it works, because that is just business 101. You have to get your fans hyped for the console. You have to. And right now, I do believe they have. Look, I do believe that they do have surprises in store. But they're holding to this weird system that they don't want to let the cat out of the bag a year or 2 years in advance. You know, it's like this 6 month time frame window, and it's just BS. They need to cut that out. If they got something, put it out there.
But here's my thing: I understand.
Enrique, can I clarify something real quick?
Go ahead, man.
I wanted to clarify my comment about third party and Game Pass. Now, the reason why I said that I don't believe the rumors about Shadow of the Tomb Raider and Borderlands 3 is that, and I agree with what Fawn said, that, you know, if it can happen, if these publishers, these third party publishers, believe that they can still get sales while the game is still in Game Pass. So you see with Sea of Thieves, game was in Game Pass, had a lot of player engagement, was number 2 in MPD when it came out. You know, let's see what happened with State of Decay 2. But if Microsoft's first party is still selling well while it's in Game Pass, and then people are trying it in Game Pass, but they're like, oh, well, you know, I want all the extra stuff that comes with it, so let me go ahead and just purchase it with that 20% discount, and then now I'm going to own the game. Then third parties will jump on then. But it's going to have to be, you're going to have to prove that because this is a completely different thing, really, and you're going to have to prove that this format can work before a third party jumps in there. I just can't see.
And let me add on top of that. You're exactly right, Slow-Mo. That's what I was getting at too. You have to prove that to these third party folks. But Phil Spencer himself told me this one time, because I asked him about why they allow game sharing. Okay. And he went into this whole thing about digital sales and all this stuff. And he told me third party publishing initially were pissed off about digital sales. They didn't want that, because they felt like people were, you know, just sharing one copy and that was it. But they had the data to actually show that digital sales are actually a huge thing for these third-party companies, because it got more people to buy their games. More people are buying games digitally than physical for some reason. Okay, they play it, they like it, they end up buying it. Friends. In any case, he told me that the data shows that, and they show these third-party publishers this data on digital sales, and they just smile. They leave there. They go in there pissed off about it. They leave there with a smile. He says that was his exact words to us. And you know what? Game Pass could do the same thing for these people. I'm thinking Game Pass is relatively a small success for them right now, for the Xbox brand itself, or else I don't think they'd be doing this. I think right now a lot of people are buying into Game Pass. I'm a Game Pass member right now. I've been one for months, even before they added the first party content. I think it's a good pro-consumer thing, but to keep me there, they've got to add some better content. They've got to add some content that, you know, because I'm already getting through all these older games, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm running low here. And Sea of Thieves ain't doing it for me. So what else?
Yeah, you know, the BioShock collection, like all the games, the whole entire BioShock catalog is in Game Pass, but that's leaving at the end of May. So, you know, they need to replace, you know, some quality older games like that with something else, something probably hopefully newer, you know, that people really want to, you know, play, because there's some of these other games are.
I was glad that BioShock Infinite was there, because I didn't play that until I got Game Pass, and then I beat it through Game Pass. So I'm glad I did that one. That was fun.
You know, half the people that I've been playing Halo 5 with are only playing it through Game Pass, and it's still, you know, and these are people who haven't played a Halo game in forever, and they're like, you know, I'll do it just to have fun with some people that, you know, I game with, and now they're thinking about, you know what, you know, maybe when my free trial of Game Pass ends, I might go ahead and purchase Halo. You know, how much does it cost? You know, so it's a good service, and then the idea of it to let people try games that they didn't really want to put money down initially, and then realize, you know, they didn't want it, but you know, now they can try something and say, oh, I like that, let me buy that. It's a great idea. It's just they have to back it up with the games to get people to sign up, and I do think it's doing well. I have it, and I got it when Sea of Thieves came out, and I already planned on getting it, and I'm not going to drop it anytime soon or anything like that. But
let me ask you guys something about E3 this year, though. Okay, so we know Sony has let the cat out of the bag with these 4 major titles that they're going to go in depth with, apparently. Okay. We've also heard Sean Layden say that he's going to announce other things too. That's not the only 4 they're going to show, guys. But these 4 games, okay, if this is the only big in-house titles they do happen to show, how do you guys feel about that show?
I'll jump in. I don't really feel what's wrong with it. I mean, here's my thing. We're acting like a lot of people acting like those are not 4 great titles. Like those are what is it? Is it Last of Us 2? Ghost of Tsushima, which I'm super hype about. Like feudal Japan, that's my wave right there. So I'm biased with that. What's the other 2? Spidey, is it?
Spidey
and
Death Stranding,
right? And like I said, so let's just say hypothetically, it's just those 4 with Death Stranding, right? And then the third-party stuff, they've got confirmation that they said they're going to talk about the third-party stuff, which means Destiny 2 is going to be on their stage. But at the end of the day, that's still strong, man. And if they go in depth, I don't really have a problem with it. Because to me, at the end of the day, people can complain with Sony about the way they do stuff, but at least they give. I used to complain sometimes, like, hey, they showing stuff that's ways out or not ready yet, but at least the base has an idea of what's coming, right? As opposed to Microsoft, where the approach seems to be keep things close to vest, but then you have your base like, well, is anything in development? What are you guys doing? You know what I'm saying?
And that's the big problem.
Exactly. So I've actually changed my stance on this over the years. I used to really go at Sony like, I don't like this because you look at there's no release dates and we don't know when this is coming. But when you get stuff like a God of War and you get stuff, you know, all these high Horizon Zero Dawn, you know, have more confidence that, hey, let them cook, let them bake, let them serve that meal. Because we know
a good example of this. So Sony announced so many different games and had, you know, games that are years and years out. Like I mentioned earlier to Enrique about, you know, Kojima coming out on stage, didn't even have a name of a game, just saying we're making a game for it. Huge pop. Final Fantasy VII Remake. You know, they have the trailer. That game still ain't out yet. It's going to be a next gen game. You know, you look at that, and then you guys remember when they showed The Last Guardian, and people was like, "Oh yeah, that game." You know, that's and then The Last Guardian turned out to be not that great a game, but at the same time, it's like they pulled that out of nowhere, and people completely forgot about it. Now, Microsoft on the other side does not have that many exclusives so when no one's going to forget about Crackdown 3. No, we need some more exclusive IP. So it's like you can't hide Crackdown 3 until it's ready.
I forgot.
Just go boom. Here's Crackdown 3 at E3. Oh yeah, that game. No, people are asking Microsoft about Crackdown 3 every day on Twitter. They're like, yo, where is that? Come on, man. Where is that? Where's the game at? So it's when you have a ton of IP and you have a development issue with one game, you can kind of, you know, push it to the side because you got other stuff that can be put in place and to keep your community good, keep them happy. You can't have that issue if all they have to look forward to and all they know about is State of Decay 2, Sea of Thieves. And Crackdown 3, you know.
The reason why I was asking you guys about Sony's show is this, because, you know, again, I thought a lot about this too. And I think that Sony only showing these 4 games, going in depth with these first party titles anyway, it's kind of brilliant that they let it out of the bag already. because it doesn't get people overly excited for Sony now. It doesn't get people thinking, okay, but what else you got, Sony? What else you got? No, people know going into their show, hey, they're going to show these 4 games, and they've got that in their head the whole show, so they're not really ready for like maybe a great indie that comes along or a great multiplayer game that they have the rights to, you know, the marketing rights to. So I think it was brilliant. I really think it was brilliant of them to put it out that way, because I've heard a lot of people saying, well, it kills the buzz. It kills that feeling you get with E3 that you're wondering what's coming. Yeah, in a way it does. But if they really didn't have anything new in-house, then, you know,
it's good to get ahead of it. Yeah, if they don't have anything new and everything else new can't be announced yet, and it's going to be definitely next gen. Yeah, get ahead of it and let people like set the expectations. Right. Like, don't let the building hype go too far, and there's no way for you to live up to that. I get that completely. Like, what I'm expecting now from Sony is probably a little under an hour. They're going to show those 4 games. They're going to show gameplay for them, and then maybe the last 20% of it, they may show some PSVR games or something like that, and then maybe a third party like, you know, Destiny 2, stuff to show for this fall, and that'll be about it. But they also have PSX. They have other shows to show other things and not just E3. So yeah, I don't think it's that big a deal. Like, some people were like, "Oh, they're only going to show 4 games." I'm like, well, I mean,
that Ghost of Tsushima game, man, I cannot wait for that, man.
Yeah, I'm hyped for that.
That has me hyped with that little trailer they showed last year. So.
No doubt. I will say this though. I mean, part of me does. The only thing I do agree with the crowd that is loud against what has been announced with Sony is that part of the magic of E3 is not knowing, though, right? Part of the magic is that wonder, like, what's the what the company is gonna do, and I'm gonna be honest, like, I'm a guy that generally doesn't like, when I find out a leaked list and everything on that list becomes true. It kind of steals the thunder for me personally, you know what I'm saying? But again, like, if this is to be true, and it's still solid, like, we're not gonna say it's not, but I would hope there's still like maybe 1 or 2 things they're keeping close to vest that they'll pump out, because Sony's really good at that. I mean, even when the Shenmue announcement and there was certain moments that because I guess they have that flair for presentation and the cinematics and stuff like that they really know how to galvanize their base. They know to get that emotion out of that base and seeing something that no one thought that they would see. So even if they threw like a little splash screen of like a SOCOM or what I'm saying, like that would be crazy. Just just to know that it's being worked on or something, a kind of thing like that. So
I would really like a new SOCOM. I mean, someone else had mentioned that earlier this week, and I was like, yeah, man,
SOCOM would be hot.
Yes,
it would be great to bring SOCOM back. I also think that everyone knowing what Sony is going to do ahead of time, and we also kind of knowing Nintendo isn't going to be a big presence at E3 this year, it shows there's a huge opportunity for Microsoft to really step up with Xbox, and since this is going to be quote unquote their biggest E3 ever, I mean, like, you setting the hype up there, like, I hope they can really fulfill that, but it's knowing that there isn't going to be huge announcements coming from your main competition should really like galvanize them to really step it up, and I hope they do. I mean, they got their own studio and own area all set, and well, I guess we'll see. We got like what, 4 more weeks?
Yeah, approaching
less than that, I think, right?
Yeah, actually a little bit less than that.
Getting close.
I'm ready.
Yeah, interesting. Well, I think this is an opportunity for them to kind of steal the show, but we'll see. I feel like I've been again, this goes back to just being there from day one. We've always had that mindset. Oh, this is gonna be their year. They steal the show. and not that last year's show wasn't bad. Like, was bad. It wasn't bad. I thought it was good. I thought they showed a lot of variety on that last year's E3 than they have in previous years. With some of the indie stuff. So But we'll see. I mean, I hope. I think you said I hope that Sony has a surprise, because I feel like that's always been the luster of E3. But I also feel like maybe E3 is losing some of its luster. I mean, look at EA is kind of they have their own thing when they're opening up to fans to come play their games. Bethesda has their big party. Nintendo's really not there anymore, other than just being on the floor, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they've been on the floor.
Yeah. Sony's like, hey, we're gonna show 4 games. That's pretty much it. And then they have PSX. I guess. I mean, what does this mean for E3? I mean, I feel like Matt Piscatella actually mentioned or tweeted something interesting. He's like, kind of makes sense. Like, logistically, it's cheaper, and now you can, through the internet, you can actually reach many more, a wider audience, and you can just go to E3 now.
Yeah, it's true. The direction has changed. I mean, we've seen it. We've seen the gradual change and shift in philosophy over the years. When you have the big companies, the EAs, the Bethesdas, the Ubisofts, they're all doing their own shows, and they're still kind of benefiting. And also, it seems like they kind of get to control their own narrative a little bit better. And those spaces are not cheap. When you go to E3, to rent out that space, it's expensive. There seems to be a philosophy change. When I go now, obviously they opened it to the public. It's a little bit of different energy. So E3 as we know it could just be evolving right before our eyes. And when Sony, I think this one really hit me with Sony kind of making that announcement of how they're doing things ahead of time. They've never really done that before. So to me, I think you're on the money with that, Brad. I think it's that the philosophy of E3 is changing. Even Microsoft, they're not doing it. They're having, they're doing their own thing. Microsoft's theater, yada, yada, yada. So we'll see.
I gotta give a shout out to Tipsy Gamer. He said Sony is like, we dominated this gen from E3, but I disagree with that. I think these companies always have something to prove, and they should always be on their toes, because they never know what the other guy could have, And
you cannot get complacent, because that's what happened with Sony after when they would launch the PS3.
Get a second job.
Give you a $600 system with no games, and you're gonna buy it because it's PlayStation.
Hey, that's what happened at 360, bro. That happened to the 360 at the end of the generation last year.
And we saw the same thing with Microsoft going from 360 to Xbox One. Like, you cannot get complacent. It's because you're doing great doesn't mean you're going to be doing just as great 2-3 years from now.
Oh yeah, I got news for you guys. Just because PlayStation won this generation doesn't mean they'll win next generation.
It could be Nintendo. It could be Nintendo next gen. We don't know. It could be
Nintendo.
Facts.
Yeah. Although I'm already buying a PS5. I already know that.
I am too, because of the games that I know are coming.
Yeah. So. Look, Fonz, I just finished God of War, and I'm buying a PS5.
Because exactly what I said too. Because Cory Barlog said they're going to make 5 more. I'm like, yeah, I'm there. Don't worry.
Well, actually disproved it though.
He had to fix that.
He had to fix it.
They're definitely working on more. Yeah,
they'll get more.
But I mean, look, I want to play the sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn. I want to play the sequel to God of War. I mean, I they're going to release the definitive edition of The Last of Us 2 on the PS5, as they did on the PS4. So, I mean, look, that's what I said. Like this is what Sony does well. They create they create new content that sells the consoles for the next gen. They get people locked in.
That's why you announce years in advance with these games. You get people hyped for these games, man. All these games that are coming out now were hyped up 3-4 years ago.
Facts.
Yep. Now imagine if Sony did what Microsoft is doing, where they don't announce anything until it's like 6 months to a year to about to come out, right? Would Enrique be saying he's going to buy a PS5?
Probably not.
Probably not, because you don't know what you're going to get. But what Sony tells you what they're working on, and their track record tells you it's going to be quality. So it's a blueprint that you don't you don't want to copy your competitor like down to, you know, the shoelaces, but you do want to take the things they do well and implement that, you know, especially if they're doing it better than you are. And I think with Microsoft, the Xbox One X is a beautiful console that was expertly designed. Their services are top notch. Backwards compatibility is awesome. I love it. Everything is great.
Except
the game. So you work on this thing,
right?
You know, just work on this thing and we're good. So
and that's why competition is great. I mean, at the end of the day, I love that Sony is doing so great, and that puts pressure on Microsoft. It has to. That's all they've been hearing. You got the great system. You got the great. Where the games? Where the games? That's what everyone says, right? Where's your first party games? To me, this is beautiful. I love it. These are the times I don't get upset as a gamer. I don't get upset. I use the Destiny comparison again. I love it. Your base has abandoned you. What are you going to do now? Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. I love it. Let's see what you do. You know.
Let me ask you guys something real quick. Do you think that Microsoft views Sony as a competitor, or is it like, you know, where? Because I do believe where Microsoft goes, the Xbox division goes, and Microsoft's obviously in competition with Google, Amazon, Apple. Where, I mean, is Sony? Do they look at them as a competitor, or is it like, hey, you know what, we do this well. We do services, we do cloud, we do hardware better now. We're going to focus on this stuff. Where Sony's like, yo, this is our bread and butter. Like, this is it for us.
Right.
Like, we really, you know, PlayStations are, you know, our lifeline.
Right.
You know,
I don't think they view them as a competitor as Sony views Microsoft as a competitor. They're not at all, because I mean, we see it with Mixer, with the whole giveaway for PS4 Pro with God of War. You know, through the whole mix, and like, there's no way. There is no way that Sony would do like a PS Now giveaway of an Xbox One X. and stay at the K2. Like, that's not happening, you know. And they view them as a potential customer. Well, it's actually a current customer with, you know, some of the services that Sony does that Microsoft is supporting on the backbone. But yeah, they don't view it the same, and that disappoints me, because it's I don't know for certain how dedicated they are in, like, say 5-6 years from now to, you know, making sure that the Xbox brand is competing well. I can't say for certain that.
But it is making money, though.
The Xbox app on the PlayStation.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. At the end of the day, I think as long as they're profitable. And if they done, and so this is where I get a little.
I know where you're going.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, you know, where's the incentive for them to invest? I mean, I know they're doing it now, but how much are they really going to invest? I mean, if they're profitable and they've done so without investing, why invest and take that risk on something that may not return anything?
I'll tell you why. Because they can still lose customers. Okay, they can still lose a lot of people out there. Even some of the hardcore are questioning Microsoft right now, which is really something to me. Seeing some of these content creators that were so pro Xbox really starting to look at Xbox now and question them. Finally, you know, you can always lose your base, your fan base, and I think that they're seeing some of that. And even though they're,
but Fonz, I think it's different.
They have the data showing how many consoles are sold, how much software is being sold. You know, just because they're making money off of, say, first party microtransactions or games as a service or Game Pass services doesn't mean that they don't have the data to show that the fan base is dropping in other areas. So,
but here's the thing, though: they have people tied into their ecosystem now, and look, a lot of people aren't going to leave that ecosystem when you're playing.
Some people would.
I think they will. Yeah. I mean, I agree with some people, but I always look at it like this. Like, I always feel like, you know, the hardcore is 10% of the consumer base. The casuals are 90%, and like, you have casuals that are on Xbox that are tied into that ecosystem.
You know what? When you say tied to an ecosystem, what it really comes down to is that's where my friends are. Okay.
Exactly.
But the beginning of this generation, most of my friends went from the 360 to the PlayStation.
Yep.
And if you know what, if next generation it shows that Microsoft's got some winning games, hey man, you're going to see a lot of those people come back.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, I hear where you're going with, BRAP. I mean, you're making valid points, and I get it. And the question will become like, how serious do they take it? Because they're still were profitable in arguably one of their worst years. I mean, we had Jez Gordon on the show. We were talking about that. And the only thing I can say, and I do agree with this, and I'm not making this excuse, because I know a lot of people are like, well, what were they doing all this time? Because I'm hearing the Terry Myerson thing, and it is true. I mean, he didn't view the gaming division as something of importance. You know what I mean? And I do feel there is weight to Phil being at the table, to Phil actually being in a leadership position. I do feel that does hold weight. Now, am I going to excuse the entire generation for that? No.
Yeah.
But what I will say is that being in a position of power, being able to make those decisions that's actually going to benefit the gaming division, it holds weight. So now, like I look at it is, this E3, and with the Xbox One X, this is kind of like Phil's vision, with the services and all that stuff. I get it. But this is the year. Am I going to say it's make or break? No. But because at the end of the day, it's either, you get rid of your Xbox, But at the end, I want to see now with this E3, what's in store, what's popping, how is the philosophy change? What are we going to see? Are we going to see those exclusive games maybe in development years out and things that they may not have announced in the past before? Will we see that kind of stuff, or is it going to still be more of the same, close to the vest, only stuff that's going to be released within the next 3 to 6 months? That I'm curious about the philosophy more so than the result, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah. Actually, can I address something real quick? Looks like I got a comment from the Mac of All, and he said that everyone at Xbox just got a promotion and a new bag of money to spend. Y'all sound very uninformed. So like, hey, look, Mac. I think all of us up here are well aware that Phil Spencer got a promotion. We are well aware that the Xbox division is no longer under Windows. We're well aware that Terry Myerson is gone, and Terry Myerson may have been the major hiccup in Xbox's budget. But what we are saying is that now that the checkbook is open, what are they going to do with it? Right. Are they going to actually deliver now that they have the money to do so? And when they did have the money to do so early in this gen, there were missteps. There were games that were not quality exclusives, that weren't that great. They've lost big time developers like Bungie and BioWare, who were at one point all in on their brand, and now that they're all they're doing multi-plats. What are they going to do with that money? We're not saying that, like everything that's happened the past 2 or 3 years is still the same. We understand there are changes that have happened, but at no point can those changes guarantee actual results. So yeah.
Facts, man. Yeah,
I think at the end of the day, as gamers, all we can do is just wait and see at this point. I mean, that's all you can do, and then speak with your wallet. Be an informed, consumer, and just speak with your wallet. If you like what you like, buy it. If you don't.
Don't.
Yeah, it's a great point. Makes you think about Destiny 2 again.
That's why I had to jump in on this segment.
Look at that. I finally got called a pony again. Yeah, I was being called an Xbot for a while there. So
there you go. Jay Fonz is a pony. Too funny. Well, gentlemen, I just want to say thank you again for your time. It's I was going to say we're approaching midnight, but it is midnight here on the East Coast. So Jay Fonz, man, always a pleasure having you on, man. Thanks for hopping on. And Lord Cognito, always a pleasure, man.
Sir.
Glad you're able to join us tonight, man.
Yeah, man. I was up just writing the show, and I'm like, oh, what's this? I said, you guys are talking good stuff, man. I was like, oh, man, I shouldn't do this, but I'm like, this is so good. Like, I had to, shout out to Brad, shout out to Slow Mo. I always listen to you guys when you guys do your little rants and stuff. So I was like, it's been a while. So this was fun.
Yeah, no, it was.
Get back to work, watch some more UFC, but this is fun.
Yeah, no, it was a good time, man. We got to get the rest of the Iron Lords back on, man.
Absolutely. Definitely Lords of the Arcade has to return.
Yes, Lord King's been asking me about that.
Mm-hmm. We just got to get the schedules, man. Everyone's schedule's a mess.
Yeah, I know. So, Slow Mo, man, always a pleasure, man. Thank you again. DMV Gaming, man. That's all I got to say.
That's what's up. Absolutely, man. Yeah, and anytime you need me to come through, I'm definitely willing to do that.
Nah, no doubt, man. I really appreciate it, man. And Lord Cognito, you guys are on tomorrow, man.
Yeah, man. 1 p.m. Eastern, the Lord's Day returns, man. May have a surprise guest. We'll see. He know who he is.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah, man. We'll be in the building tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern. Check us out. The usual suspects, and we'll have some fun, man.
Awesome. And please, everyone, give these gentlemen a follow on Twitter. And actually, if you guys wouldn't mind dropping your Twitter handles. And Jay Fonz, I know you're on a few podcasts. Slow Mo, if you guys wouldn't mind plugging some of those podcasts you guys are on too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm on the Scumcast with the Ash and Luca. Usually on Saturday afternoons around like 1 p.m. Eastern. You can catch me on Twitter at the same name, and I'm usually on there
trolling.
Look, hey, I don't troll. What I do is I just point out, some inconsistencies in people's arguments, and I just say, hey, that's interesting. Why is everyone saying this? Think about it. That's about it, really. But it's all fun. It's all fun and games.
Gotcha. All right. What about you, Jay Fonz?
You can find me on RDX Tuesdays on Dealer Gaming's channel at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And unfortunately, today I had to leave the Saltiest podcast. I'll no longer be doing that podcast on a regular basis, but when I can make it, I will definitely make that podcast. No bad blood or anything. My schedule, man. My schedule is hectic, so I can't make it. That's the same reason why I can't do BRAP all the time either.
Yeah, no, man. That's why, we drop those links, man. Hopefully you can make it, but it's always a pleasure, man, when you can. So
yeah, definitely. And I'm also starting to work on more videos now. I'm starting to put more out. So
last two were fire, man. Love the last two.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man. I try to put some production value behind it too, and sometimes they don't go very well for me. Some people just don't like watching, that long of my videos or whatever.
Nah, keep it doing. Keep doing what you're doing, man. Real good stuff.
I'm grinding though. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. And then Cognito, we talked about the Iron Lords. You guys are live tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, that's on the Inner Circle Network channel. Check us out, Tick Fam.
Hey, I'll be there talking this mixed martial arts stuff.
Yeah. Our surprise special guest.
Nice.
Stuff, yeah.
Yeah, and speaking of tech, BRAP is an official affiliate of the Inner Circle Gaming Network. So I've actually dropped a link to Tick's website. Please check them out.
Yes.
Check the website out. Great news, great gaming content, reviews, good stuff.
Nice.
Check it out.
Sold your soul to Tick.
Love it. Yes.
Wow.
Indoctrination begins.
Yeah.
I need to do that one with the voice.
That's hilarious.
I love that voice.
That is hilarious.
I don't know why that just really kind of reminded me of Shang Tsung.
Yes.
You ever seen the Mortal Kombat movie when he
Yes.
give me your soul.
Give me your
I
soul.
don't know why that reminded me of that. Now I kind of want to watch that. Man.
Too funny. OBJ to Don, live chat says go Caps. That's right, go Caps.
Easy. I'm still getting over you guys beating my pens. Damn
Oh, you're a Pens fan?
yeah, I'm in my feelings. Well, you know what? Yo, salute to y'all. Y'all did your thing, man. Y'all did your thing.
Well, look, the Pens have been beating the Cats in the
I know.
playoffs for years. There needs to be some balancing of skills here.
I just want the rope.
Lord, CM Punk is about to fight again in June.
Yeah.
Is he?
Yeah, I'm like, okay.
He got destroyed his first fight.
Yeah.
Got embarrassed. Dude, as soon as it went to the ground, I knew it was over.
Oh,
man. It happens to the best of them, and he got in the game late, and that's always a bad move.
Yep. Yeah. Wow. Well, props to him for giving another shot.
Yeah. Trying to redeem that name, I guess.
Yeah. So, all right, gentlemen. Well, hey, always a pleasure. Love talking video games with you guys and everyone in the live chat. Thank you for joining us tonight, hanging out with us.
Hit that like button.
Yeah,
yes, sir. Hit that like, y'all.
Yeah,
BRAP out here putting good content.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And who gives us 2 dislikes? Come on, people. Gives us 2 dislikes. Me
and I was talking that Destiny talk.
Wait a minute, dislike.
Hey, dislikes work just like likes. It's engagement, so it's good for you.
There you go. Yeah, we're using the game's what you call it model, Game Pass model here. It's engagement.
Engagement. It's all about engagement. That's a good point, Jay. It's a great point. So everyone enjoy the rest of the weekend. We'll be back on our regular schedule time on Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for BRAP. So, hey, if you haven't done so, give us a sub, and we'll catch you guys next Wednesday.
And happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
Oh, yes, right.
It's Happy Mother's Day. Call your mother. You know,
yes.
Needs you.
Get your mother a Mother's Day card. Give her a call. Tell her hello. Wish her all the best. So, all right. On that note, good night, everyone. We'll catch you guys next time.
Catch you later.
Peace.
Later.
Peace.